Hi everyone, this is Alec from AJ Farms, and today I'm here with your rainy June garden tour. Hopefully I can get this done and not get too wet. I have an umbrella, so you might hear the rain hitting the umbrella on occasion. So before I get too deep into things, I kind of wanted to start with some general updates, housekeeping. I have been trying to upload more regularly, usually once a week, to the YouTube channel. Though the day that this should be posted, Jay will be having surgery that day, so Tuesday. And I probably won't be able to keep up with that upload schedule for the next month or two because I'll be taking care of him. And honestly, my priority is making sure he's okay and then doing what I can to take care of the garden, so I may not have time to film everything. So I will try to post videos when I can, but if I am not able to every week, I'll try to at least bi-weekly. But again, my priority is making sure that Jay is okay. Right, so with that, now we can get started with the mild pepper bed. So right here we have our jalapenos and bell peppers, and if I zoom in right down here, you can see we have a whole bunch of peppers forming. And if I come over here to the plant, not in front of you, a little bit further back, we have some really big jalapenos forming. I am so excited for those. These are what I use to make my hot sauce, or at least part of the peppers I use to make it. And these are mammoth jalapenos, and they get huge. They live up to their name. They're easily, yeah, you can pick them and they can get up to 5, 6. I've even had one that was 7 inches long, so they are huge. Then next to the jalapenos, we have our bell peppers, or sweet peppers, and they aren't as productive with their fruiting. They're still growing, but if you zoom in on the one like this, you see we do have a pepper. Come on. So I'm really excited for that. Honestly, I'm just excited for everything in the garden because everything's growing so well, and we've had minimal pest issues. I've managed to keep things under control so far. So we're going to come over here next to a little spoiler of the Dahlia bed. So this one right here, I'm just going to go ahead and start with it, is the creme de cassis, and it is gorgeous. It's not sunny today, but if it was, it would literally, oh, as I said that the sun came out, but it would literally be shimmering in the sun. I might be able to capture the effect. I will try. So it's not quite sunny enough to get on film, but it is gorgeous. I love this one so much. I've had one bloom so far, so this is my second, and I'm really happy. Next to that, we have the cafe au lait, which is doing pretty well. I haven't seen any flower buds yet, but I know they are coming soon. So this is the Dahlia bed that I planted all the tubers as tubers in the ground. I didn't pre-start them inside, so they are a little behind the other ones, but they're doing very well. And like the creme de cassis, the American Sun Dahlia, I don't believe this is a dinner plate, also has a flower bud. So I'm really excited to see this one. This is a nice happy yellow flower. Then we have the Eveline, I believe. Impatiently waiting for some blooms on this one because this is supposed to be really gorgeous. And then we have Duet behind that, and then Blue Boy next to that. Also really excited for those because they're a nice purpley blue color. They're so pretty. While it looks like a little bit of a disaster zone, I also wanted to show you what was going on with my radish bed. They're way past season now. They've all bolted, and they've produced these really cool seed pod things. So I'm thinking about just letting them go. I know they're probably cross-pollinated, which is fine, but I'm thinking about letting them go and trying to collect some seeds from that and seeing how that works. And next to the radish, we have what is supposed to be the carrot bed, but there's 2 kales taking over this half. And these leaves are massive. And this isn't even the biggest they've been. I've picked all those super huge ones, so doing great. And it's doing the thing that I really wanted. You can see that stalk. It's getting really tall. And no signs of bolting in the middle, which means we are going to have kale for a long time yet, which is awesome. Then next we have our carrots, which are getting bigger. I haven't actually dug around in the soil to see how the roots are growing, but as I've thinned them out, I've had little carrots, so I know they're growing. I think I'm going to fertilize everything, but I'm going to fertilize these and then see how much they go and then keep working on thinning them out a little bit more. I'm not going to be able to get all this in one swoop, but look at the cabbage. I mean, even since me coming out yesterday, they're huge. They do have a few bug holes, but not nearly as bad as it was last year. Last year, the bugs got to them so badly we didn't even get heads. This year, the heads themselves are pretty much untouched. I mean, if I zoom in on this one right here, look how gorgeous that is. And what's really funny is I thought I spaced these out pretty well, but if we go and look at that corner, that cabbage is, I don't know what it is about that corner, but that cabbage has taken off. It loves it there. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a 5-pound cabbage out of that. I mean, it's huge. And then next to our cabbage, we have our basil, which I need to come out and pick the tips off. Because picking the tips off of your basil, like I mentioned in a previous video, helps them to get bushier and it helps them to keep growing leaves instead of flowers. I'll zoom in on one plant to show you what I'm talking about. So if you look at this tip of the basil, you'll notice the leaves are really, really tiny and very close together. That means that it's about to bolt or go to seed. So what you want to do, if I can do this without shaking the camera too much, is come in down a little bit and just pinch that stem off. You can eat this, it's perfectly edible. Honestly, it probably will have more flavor than most basil in general, or you can compost it, throw it out, do whatever. But you want to make sure that you're pruning your basil regularly, because once it starts to bolt and really goes to flower, all of the energy goes to that, and the basil gets very weak and doesn't taste as good. So always prune your basil, you'll have a lot of it. Next we have our kale and our pea bed. The ones back here did not actually get attacked by anything. Somebody was helping us build a patio, which I'll show you in a little bit, and we let them have some kale as a thank you for helping us out. But he didn't really make a dent when you look at the rest of the plants, which is awesome, and he stuffed some shopping bags full of kale to the point where he couldn't fit any more in there. They taste delicious, and they are doing great. I've even given some away to my aunt. Like, this little tiny patch is providing for a lot of people. So if you're looking for something to feed a whole bunch of people, please grow kale. It is amazing. Then next to the kale, we have the very sad looking peas. It is past their season. They are cool weather crops. They do not tolerate heat very well. I'm honestly surprised they did as well as they did. So at this point, there are some peas that are still good for shelling, but there are none that are good for snap peas. So I'm just going to let them go, finish the pods, letting those dry out that are on there to get some seeds out of them, like these right here. I'll let those dry out, get the seeds, and I'm going to pull these peas, which is the plan for this year, and I will replace them with more kale and possibly some mustard. I know my parents wanted mustard. I like kale. I'm also the one that starts the seeds, so we'll see how I feel. But this will be replaced with some leafy greens. I'm not quite sure how heat tolerant mustard is, which is also why I said kale, because, I mean, if you look, this kale is absolutely taking this heat like a champ. It's been humid, it's been 90 something, it feels like 100 and something, thankfully not today. But it is not phased, it's growing just fine. Next we have a bed that I'm very excited to show you, and I'm not going to be able to get far away enough to show you how massive these tomato plants are now. I mean, some of them are actually taller than I am, I didn't know that. But they are doing great, and most, if not all of them at this point, have tomatoes. Like if I come in right here, you can see there's a tomato in there. The mortgage lifter has tomatoes on it. We've got one that's covered because we're trying to keep the bugs off of it. But, I mean, oh, and of course the cherry tomatoes, just going absolutely crazy. This is the sun gold, and it made a tremendous comeback. This is the one of the ones that's almost as tall as I am, and it's covered in tomatoes and flowers. I'm so happy this one's alive. Also, this is the one that I had the cutting of in the previous video that now has roots out of the bottom of the cup, so I need to start hardening that off so I can transplant it. But these are the slicing and cherry tomatoes doing absolutely wonderfully. And behind me, I have the sauce tomatoes and a little bit of basil in the corner. But these are also doing really well. If I come in closer on this Roma tomato plant, yes, I know I need to work on pruning this too. You'll notice that the tomatoes back there are super shiny, which means soon, hopefully very soon, they should start ripening and turning red. I am so excited for sauce. I want tomato sauce so badly because there is nothing better than fresh homegrown tomatoes. So we got, zoom out a little bit. I believe this is our sunrise sauce tomato. This is new to me this year, but it also has tomatoes on it. They're smaller than the Romas, which is interesting. I didn't really know what to expect from this plant, so I'm just happy that it's producing. Now these tomatoes do not get as big as slicing tomatoes and beefsteak tomatoes typically, but they're trying. That one's almost as tall as I am. So we've got the Amish paste right in the front, which I was actually worried wouldn't make it. It's doing pretty well, and I think, yes, has a tiny, tiny tomato on it. And then we've got more aromas and a super sauce tomato in the back, which I believe also has some tomatoes on it, so let me go find those for you. It's got 2 tiny tomatoes on it, but it's trying, so I'm happy. I also need to train these tomatoes a little bit better because I've got one that's growing out of the bed, way out of the bed. So I need to work on threading that back through. I think that's a Roma tomato as well. Might be a San Marzano, I'm not sure. Actually, looking at the shape of the tomatoes, I believe it's San Marzano. But yes, these tomatoes are so happy, and the Romas especially are loaded down. And a lot of them are getting shiny and really big, so that means they should be ripening up soon. Hopefully by next month at some point, I will have a tomato harvest video for you all. I can't believe I almost forgot the cucumbers. So I'm going to come into this tunnel. The leaves are massive. It's insane. And oh, it's covered in bees because they're doing their job, so I don't want to disturb them too much. But they're going to very easily they've already overtaken the bed. They're going to be everywhere soon. So I'll need to figure out what I need to do to kind of keep them contained so I'm not stepping all over them, because I don't want to injure the vines. But if I zoom in, I believe it's this corner. Yes. We have a tiny cucumber. There are more in there. I just don't know where. Actually, I think I see one right in there. Okay, so those are the only 2 that I know of. My mom has said she's seen more. I don't know where. As you can see, it's just a carpet of leaves. I don't want to disturb them too much, so we will definitely be going through there soon. Just, we're kind of watching the weather, making sure we don't stress out the plants too much. Next, we have our strawberries. Now, it's a little hot for strawberries. They're not quite cool season crops, but they don't enjoy super, super hot weather. So right now, they're not really focusing on fruit production per se. They're focused on reproduction, which means they are sending out a whole bunch of runners, which is completely normal. It just means we'll have a whole bunch of new strawberry plants next year. As you can see in between the 2 beds, there's a few runners on the ground. What I'm planning on doing is coming through and pruning quite a few of them. I'll let some of them root, and then I'll transplant them into other places. I can fill in the first bed that I showed you a little bit. This bed is just a carpet of strawberries, which is nothing wrong with that. But I do need to go through there to make sure. Some of them have started throwing out a little bit more fruit, so I want to make sure that I'm not missing any here, because I definitely want to eat those. Next we have our pumpkin bed, which is honestly turning into a little bit of a pumpkin patch, which is really awesome. A tiny one, but still. It's a carpet of pumpkin leaves. And on the very end, we even have some flowers. So I believe the varieties that I'm growing this year, on this first one, we have the small sugar, which is a pie pumpkin. The triple treat, which is also technically a pie pumpkin, but it's bigger, so you could use it as a jack-o'-lantern. I can't see the label, but I believe we've got jack-o'-lantern, Connecticut Field, and something else. I've got a bee in front of me I'm trying not to disturb. Then on this very end right here, we've got our massive pumpkins. We have Dill's Atlantic Giant, Big Max, and Big Moon. And what's really awesome is if I come over here, it's kind of hard to see, but if I can move this leaf, oh, we've got a female flower right there. So we've got a tiny pumpkin. It hasn't opened up yet, which is fine, but it should soon, and I'm hoping that pollinates because I believe that's the Big Moon or Big Max, whichever one's in the front. That's the Big Max, okay. And those can get up to 100 pounds. So again, the goal is 25 or higher, 50 or higher would be great. Above that, I'm not sure how we're gonna move it. But to see one that's a little bit more accessible, I believe it's in here. Somewhere on this vine. I just saw it earlier when I was walking around. Let's see. Leave right here. Yes, we have another female pumpkin flower. So I'm really excited for that. Any female pumpkin flowers are potential pumpkin, like actual full-grown pumpkins, so they're really exciting to see on your plants. Next we have the beans. Look at this. Everything's turning into a carpet of plant leaves. But this is crazy. They're doing so well. And what's even better, they've started producing beans. Like, they started flowering earlier this month. If I come in right here, we have baby beans. So these are the Royal Burgundy bush beans. Next to that, I have the Blue Lake bush beans. Both of them, I believe, are bush-type beans, so they don't need any support. They will just get kind of bushy. They do tend to flop over, but they don't need trellising or anything. They don't usually get that tall. Oh my goodness. I just saw this cluster right here. These beans are a lot bigger than I knew of any that we had, so I probably need to start going in the plants in the next few days when it's not raining and go through them and see if we have any fully grown or mature enough that I can pick them beans. Kind of hoping we do. That'd be really awesome. I love homegrown beans. I actually won't happily eat the ones from the store anymore because I've been spoiled by how good fresh grown ones taste. Remember how I said in last month's video that the super hot pepper bed was a work in progress? Well, weeding wise, this project is now complete. And then we also have the pinto beans from last year, so this is a volunteer plant that has grown up the tomato cage and has grown over it. So I'm pretty excited about that. Then we had our ghost peppers on this side, some basil to help keep away some bugs. We have our orange habaneros on this side. And what's really awesome, this plant right here in particular is loaded down with little peppers. I mean, they're not so little anymore, they're actually huge. So I'm really excited for those. I mix a whole bunch of different peppers in my hot sauces. I'm still working on exact formulas and everything, but these are amazing. They add a nice kick and they take flavor deliciously. Like, oh my goodness, they're so delicious. So I'm really excited for these to start ripening up. I've just noticed the plant started fruiting. I mean, they're huge, so it'll still probably take a while, but I'm really excited for this. So after that, we have our, I have another bee around me. So we have our watermelon, and the bees are working very hard on pollinating these. We have 4 different varieties, I believe. Got Black Diamond, Crimson Sweet on this side. In the middle, we have All Sweet, and on this end, we have Carolina Cross. Not Reaper, that's a pepper. So the Carolina Cross, that is a watermelon. It's very oblong. It can get up to 200 pounds. Again, 50 is fine. Beyond that, I will have trouble getting it out of here. But what's really awesome, since last year, 1, the bed has gone crazy. Also, the volunteer tomatoes have gotten bigger. But 2, we have baby watermelon. And this isn't the only one. I think this might be the biggest one, but there's a lot more. So I'm going to go around the bed and show you some of the other ones that are growing. I mean, you can already get a peek of it. Actually, this might be the biggest one right here. I think this was the first one we found. But there's that one. There's another one next to it that's a little bit smaller. And if I go around, I'll find a whole bunch. I'm trying not to walk around too much because I don't want to fall. But if I can get around here, we've got another watermelon right there. Oh, I just saw this baby one right here. So the bees are definitely doing a good job. They deserve a raise. And I know there's one more right here. Now, that's not to say that I didn't miss any, because that's entirely possible. And again, this is loaded with female flowers, and the bees are doing an excellent job. I mean, I'm just excited. I'm still working on perfecting my watermelon growing techniques. I think I have a new strategy this year that I'm hoping will work well. So we will see if I can get a nice good reveal on a watermelon harvest this year. Then here's the last of our raised beds with anything in it. Almost completely weeded. We have one little patch left, and it was getting a little hot as we were working on it. So this patch, and then we're good. But this is mostly cayenne peppers. This half are the ones that I bought from the store, which is hot cayenne. In the middle, we have 2, I believe, yes, 2 big guy jalapeno peppers because I ran out of space. On this side, we have the long red thin cayenne peppers that I started from seed. Honestly, I think they're doing better than the ones that I bought from the store. If we zoom in a little bit, they also have peppers on them. Once these start producing, they're just a mad powerhouse. They do not stop until they get killed by frost. So once these start turning red, I'm going to be overwhelmed with red peppers. So I'm probably going to be ramping up my dehydrator to start making some pepper flakes. So I believe that is it for the raised beds. Now we have the flower patch, which I have filled in more, I believe, since last video. Not all the way quite yet. I got tired and then kind of ran out of flowers. But definitely filling in. And our Bachelor's buttons, they are blooming and they're gorgeous. It won't focus on any of them, of course. Let's see if I can get this one. There we go. I mean, they're gorgeous. And I've been picking at least a handful every day. But I've got the blue boy in the front. I've filled in some of the empty spot with cosmos, which are starting to bloom. I've got Black Boy behind that. These really deep purple ones, which are beautiful. I also have a mix, 2 rows of a mix behind that, which I've filled in with Cosmos. As you can see, this Cosmo right here bloomed, which is really pretty. Tiny, but pretty. And behind that, I'm super excited for these zinnias. I did not grow them successfully last year, but they're doing a lot better this year. And then behind the zinnias, I've got one more tiny row of Cosmos. So I'm gonna go around because there's a zinnia that I really want to show you. It's this one right here. I think this is the closest or second closest to flowering. So this one, if I had to guess, I'd say it's the canary yellow that I planted. I'm really excited for this one. I like nice bright yellow flowers because they look so happy. So I'm really excited to see this one. And this one right next to it also has a flower bud, not as developed, so I can't tell the color, but it's getting there. And then one row next to it, a little further over, we have a red one. I can't quite tell yet what it is, but I'm really excited to see them bloom. So I need to be careful how I do this because the sunflowers are blooming and they're covered in bees, which is a good thing. The bees are getting some food to help them keep energy to do their jobs. But it's awesome because these are huge. Now, weirdly enough, I planted all Mammoth Sunflowers. I'm pretty sure I planted a flat 72 seeds of that. Half of these are not Mammoth Sunflowers. Like, this one, which is about as tall as I am, so I met one of my goals, is not a Mammoth Sunflower because they shoot up one branch, one big flower, and they're done. This is side shoots with different flowers that I'm not complaining about because, hey, more flowers, but interesting. So this one, I believe right here, is a Mammoth Sunflower. So if I come all the way over here, we have our most developed sunflower, and it's almost as tall as me. It's about up to my chest, but it's pretty big. So I'm excited to see how big that head's going to be once it fully opens up. So in the row in front of that, I also have some sunflowers that are starting to bloom as I get caught on a tomato cage. And let's see if I can get in here without disturbing too many working insects. Oh, this one actually is fully open. It's supposed to be a Mammoth Sunflower. I can see side shoots, so it's not. But it's a little past my knees. And I've got one row in front of that, which I planted very late. So I wouldn't be surprised if these are only about a foot or two tall once they bloom. I plan on filling in the rest of these with sunflower seeds, so I'll plant seeds and then water them and let them grow from seed. I do not know if I will get anything out of that. I will try. So I will let you know how that goes. Alright, I can't wait any longer. I want to show you the blackberries. This one, I think half of them are almost fully ripe. From what I've been told, you should be able to pull easily on the berry and it will come off. So, like, I think it was this one I tested earlier. So I tested this one earlier, and it doesn't come off very easily, so it's not ripe. And they won't be sweet if you have to use too much force to pull them off. I'm still learning these things, but slowly. So this one, I'm not sure, it might be. No, still didn't come off easily. So I've been testing a few every day just to see. I know they're starting to get bombarded by birds and possibly bugs, so I do need to get on that. But again, I have so many I can share, because again, this is just one plant. This is the first one, and this is the smaller one. The bigger one. Oh my goodness. Oh, I didn't even notice it had berries that changed color completely. Let me see if I can zoom in over here. So we got that one right there. I will test that. That might be ripe. But this one, oh boy, it's insane. It speaks for itself. I have no words. It's so huge and it's loaded. It loves this space, and I don't know what I did. I planted it. And it could be we actually just do have really good soil for blackberries. I mean, this could also be just how they grow. But I know we have a lot of wild blackberries that grow everywhere, so it's possible just they really like this soil, because the bottom half is the old growth from last year covered in berries. The upper half is the new growth from this year. That is, it's way taller than I am, but it's leaning over, so I can't really show. But it will be pruned back a little bit for next year, and it will turn into this next year. But this blackberry is so overzealous that it not only produced not one, not two, but if I zoom in, 3 children. So I have 3 additional blackberry plants from this one plant. I need to figure out what to do with these because I want this bed back. But with this bed, it's not intentionally planted, so these are volunteer tomatoes from last year. I mean, the marigold is from this year, but the tomatoes are not. I think these are San Marzano, so as they grow, I'll probably put some cages around them and I'll let you know. But yes, these blackberries, oh my goodness. I'm probably going to give some away. I can't eat this many blackberries, and that's a lot of jelly. But it's a good problem to have. I can share it with everybody, so I'm really excited for that. So here's the first of our 2 small dahlia beds, and I'm really bad at saving the best for last because I'm too excited to show you. So I'm going to try. But the flowers are starting to open up. So this one here is the white aster. I can't see the tag, but this dinner plate on the far left side has not opened any flowers yet. And there's one right here. That's the Boom Boom Yellow that's just opening up. Not quite ready to pick. And not quite last, but last in this bed. This was supposed to be the Tartan Dahlia. I don't think it is because it's not quite the right color. But regardless, this thing's huge and this thing is gorgeous. I mean, my hand for reference, this is a flower. So I'll be picking this later and taking it inside and hopefully making a bouquet because I have enough flowers. I don't know if I have enough long ones because this one, despite me not pinching the centers, grew a really long stem, which is awesome because it needs it to support this giant head. It's so pretty. So the tartan should be a darker purple with white mixed in it. It's got some white, but it's more pinkish orange. So I'm not quite sure what it is. It's still pretty and I like it, but we'll see. Hopefully, I did get some tartans in there though, because I really, really want to grow that one. And here's the other bed. So if I come over here, you can see we've got a crazy love that's starting to open up. I have had one, it's super pretty. I did manage to tie these up. I have all my stakes in place, and I've got some just twisty ties that I've been tying my dahlias up to, containing them very well. And it's very easy to maintain. You just add new ones, and it's super easy. So here's where I goofed. This is either Arabian Night or Fubuki Maroon. Because it's so far over, I'm inclined to say it's Fubuki Maroon? Question mark. But they're gorgeous. I mean, look at that. And I've harvested a whole bunch already. These stems are slowly getting longer as I get more flowers because I'm cutting them so far down. If you want longer dahlia stems, cut them long. Even if the flower itself is short, cut those stems as long as you possibly can. Yes, this I believe is Arabian Night, which hasn't opened up quite yet. We've got Florel, which I'm really excited for. We have a head. And that should be opening up in the next week or two. And I think this here is Arabian Night, possibly. But I'm super excited for the dahlias. I've given away one bouquet. I haven't had long enough stems quite yet to really sell them as full bouquets. But we're getting there. We're very close. All right, so that's it for the flowers, I believe. Behind me, we've got some grapes growing up. This year has been interesting with grapes because we had some weather that killed them, but I think most of them are coming back. I think 4 of them have 5. Okay, half of them came back. But we're slowly replacing the ones that did not. My mom got a lot of grapes, so I think we're good on the grape department. But I'm really excited for the grapes. I know we had some last year. I never got any, but my dad said they were good, so hopefully these will also be very good. And last, but certainly not least, we have our apple trees. I believe I got everything else, but the apples are actually getting pretty big. If I zoom in, you'll notice that I've got these orange spots. I do have rust. I need to spray. I've got some stuff, so we're good. I don't believe it'll stop what's currently happening, but it will help prevent further infection. Oh my god, I just noticed this apple. It's huge. It's the size, it's bigger than a golf ball. I think that's the biggest apple we've had so far. So I'm really excited for these. Even if we're not able to eat the fruits, I'm really excited to see them grow because this is the biggest and most abundantly they have produced yet. I forgot to mention that first tree was a Red Delicious. This one is a wine sap. This is my mom's tree. She's covered this apple. These have some scabs on them, so they may not be good. I'm not sure, but that one I guess was perfect because she's covered it. And it looks like it's going to be growing pretty well. So we're going to come out and fertilize these and try to give them all the support we can to help them grow strong. Next we've got my tree, which is the Fuji. Super excited. Again, I don't know if I'll be able to eat any of the apples, but I have some and they're growing. We've also wrapped the bottom of the tree. My mom did that. I believe it's for insect protection, but I need to come in here and prune off the branches that are growing below like the bottom canopy, so anything below that white bandage, because it's taking energy away from growing like the apples, the branches that are already on there, because plants like to grow from the bottom up. So if they have new growth at the bottom, they're going to do what they can to push that out versus keeping what's on top alive. They'll keep it alive, but they won't support it to keep going. So if I prune that off, the rest of the tree from there up will keep growing bigger. So this is the other wine sap. I don't see any apples, so they either fell off or were not viable, which is fine. Because again, we're focused on getting these trees to grow, not necessarily quite yet fruit production. And then the last of our trees is Jay's tree right here. We have the pink lady. I thought he had an apple. I don't know where it went, so it may also have fallen off or been eaten or something. But I also do need to come in here and prune his tree because he has 3 branches growing out of the bottom. And again, that will sap the energy, or is it like 4? It's a big one. But it'll sap the energy from the rest of the tree and make it more difficult for it to support the apple, so that could be what happened. But I believe that is it for this garden tour. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more updates, we're on Instagram at AJ Farms, so be sure to go follow us there. And as I said in the beginning, we're going to try to keep to the weekly upload schedule, but because Jay's having surgery and I want to make sure he's okay, I can't guarantee that. So we will do what we can to see if we can get some videos out there. They may just be short ones to kind of show what's going on in the garden. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. While editing, I realized I forgot I said I was going to show you what the new patio looks like, so here it is. And with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching!